Assessment for learning policy in schools must have clearly stated procedures to mark written work, such that students are told what was successful in the work completed and informed about how they can improve. So the first thing that is important in the policy should be any marks that are given to the students should be uniform, and it should be a standard procedure to mark any written work that is supposed to be marked. It has been noticed that in one school and in one class, the teacher attempts to mark differently for different students. It is not because she is being dishonest or the teacher is being more critical with some and less with others. It is just a human flaw, because if some policy and criteria is not determined to do things, human beings tend to change all the time. For the first hour, somebody would mark the written work in one way, and for the next hour he may change his policy to mark the papers. It is very natural. It is very difficult to stay uniform, to stay steady without any criteria. So the best thing to avoid any bias or any differentiation between the marks and any unfair attitude towards the students to assess for learning, the best thing is that uniformly the staff decides a criteria to mark. It has been noticed in the training sessions that the teachers, they find it very difficult to follow the criteria in the beginning. They say usually the answer is that they know their students, and just by looking at the name they come to know what the written work would be like. It is very unfair to do that, because you never know, maybe the child has improved this time. There are some credentials in his work which need the attention of the teacher. There might be a few things in the work of the pupil where he needs to be appreciated. There might be a few things where he needs a lot of guidance. There might be a few things where if the teacher intervenes and helps and supports, those things can become extraordinary. We see that children who are guided by teachers, parents, community, people around them, sometimes they display excellent and well-informed practice in their work, and improvement is extraordinary. Therefore, it is very important to have a criteria so that it is not a problem for the teacher also. Once he has the criteria in front while he is marking papers or marking the classwork of the students, he can just base every marking on the criteria which is in front of him. As it has been said, that in the beginning the teachers, they find it very difficult to follow a criteria. But as they keep on working on it and practicing it, they realize that this is the simple method to mark. It becomes very easy for them to mark. Then they do not have a guilt and a feeling that somewhere they changed the criteria. Somewhere they were marking for spellings, somewhere they were not marking for spellings. So if the total marks are 20 and the teachers, they have to mark an essay for the total marks of 20, the criteria which could be uniformly discussed would be 5 marks for spellings, 5 marks for punctuation, 5 marks for the content, and 5 marks for the structure. So the teacher would know if the structure is fine, all 5 marks go to the student. If there is no spelling mistake, all 5 marks go to the student. Very easy. 10 marks already decided. Then the teacher has to look at the content, and then she has to look at the language being used, whether the target language has been addressed or not. And very soon she will be able to mark the paper. And as the practice goes on, it becomes very easy to follow the criteria and then point out whether the student has been successful in performing the task, and if not successful, how to inform the student about his weaknesses.